Afternoon, everybody. My name is Arif Boyson. I'm the president of Action Coach AMB Performance Group, and I want to thank you all for joining us today and spending some time with us during these uncharted waters, this uncharted time that we're all living in. Thus, why we coined our event today, 5 Ways to Survive and Possibly Thrive. Our objective is over the next hour to take you through one very sort of specific thing that we do to teach our clients how to grow and develop their business. And my hope is as you come through this call towards the end, you find 3 to 5 things that you really can put into play inside your business. And I look forward to discussing those things with you in the coming days. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and throw up on here what we're going to be covering today. So you take a look here. You'll now see our PowerPoint. And what I want to say for those that are on the call, feel free to chime into the chat box if you have questions or things that you want to discuss. It's always good to be able to discuss them in a moment, and appreciate your engagement. So a little bit about Action Coach and AMB Performance Group. So Action Coach is a franchise. AMB Performance Group is my company who purchased the franchise. Action Coach is truly the #1 business coaching firm in the world. Got over 1,000 coaches across almost 80 countries. The vision of Action Coach in totality is world abundance through business re-education. So that is the objective of the founder. And as I have mentioned, coaching about 15,000 businesses across all of these countries every single week. And the beauty of the Action Coach system is our tools and process that we have that we put in place is there with the sole purpose of working in each and every business. So it is not industry specific. It is really focused on particular tools and particular processes and systems that would work for any business at any time. Action Coach AMB Performance Group has one very clear local mission, which is to add 5,000 jobs to the local Palm Beach County area by 2030, working with business owners to create a business that works without them. And I want everyone to know this goal has not changed. We still have this same objective. I realize that COVID has changed a lot of our near-term actions, but long-term, we all should still have the same long-term business goals, long-term financial goals. This situation really shouldn't be changing any of those things. So as a company, who do we look for? We look for businesses that are open-minded and leaders that are open-minded. We look for folks that are willing to hustle. And when it's all said and done, we're looking for people who are willing to hire, because you can't build a business that works without you. You can't build a sellable business if you're not willing to do and be those 3 things. So I want to thank you guys for being here today. I am someone who gets very, very obsessed with time, as time is our most valuable asset. It's one of the only things we can't get more of. We get what we get. I actually believe in this moment we've been given a gift of time to focus on things that we probably would not have had the opportunity to focus on in the past. So knowing that time is your most valuable asset, knowing that we've been given a gift of time, make sure that as you think about this time period that you're very, very focused on how you're going to get the most out of it over the next 30 to 45 days. Know that business does not mean busyness, and how you invest your time is one of the main keys to your business success. So what are you spending your time on? And that really is an extremely important thing. We're going to talk a little bit about that today as we go through. So today our purpose is to provide you with some simple, easy things that you can do, possibly now that will increase your business, but certainly in the long term. And just a few examples of people who we have helped following some of these strategies. Got a couple of clients on here now that talk a bit about their business and things that have happened within their practice. And all have been comfortable with us sharing their results and things that have happened inside their business. So if you look at our Dr. Dean, talking a bit about how he's really switched from being a practitioner to the CEO of his business, really big shift for him. Got this gentleman here on the third page, Robbie Korth, who is co-owner of Park and Associates, who recently gave us this testimonial in a 1-hour call with Arif. I went from having a negative outlook on this particular situation. So we were really talking about the COVID situation and what it was doing. And you know, he left that moment being more energized than ever about an opportunity that this provides, because the truth is this does provide us with an opportunity. And as I said before, the opportunity is this gift of time. So we define a business as a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So if you are a critical component to your business, I'm here to tell you, you have a job. If you are not a critical component to your business and it would work without you, then you are a business owner. Our objective is to help people be a business owner. There is nothing wrong with having a job. I'm not here to say that's a bad thing. But if your ultimate goal is to have something that you can sell, to have something that you can pass on or gain passive income from, then you need to work to create that business to generate revenue without you directly involved in it. I always like to say, you know, inside my business, I currently have a job. Not enough other people inside our business generating income for this to be a business that works without me. But I am very clear on my focus that if you go back to the beginning page, going towards 2030, when we achieve that goal in 2030, I will have a business that works without me. And ultimately, that's our objective. So remember, when you're working in your business and doing things, you want to be spending enough time working in and on your business. So what we like to say to people is 20% of your time inside a week should be spent on your business. So if you're working a 50-hour work week, 10 of those hours should be spent on. If you can't afford 10 of those hours on, you just earned a 60-hour work week until you can. That is how you will move your business forward. And just to kind of clarify, in is doing things that you have to do, working with your customers, those types of things. On is doing things that allow you to create a business that works without you. Marketing plans, hiring plans, team training, not executing it, but planning it. All of those types of things are things that you would be doing as examples to work on your business. So I often kind of refer to this big dream slide. And what it says is now and 5 years from now. But I made a bit of a tweak to it today. And what I'm kind of speaking to it about is now and 90 days from now, because we're living in a different time. And it's important that we understand that. So, you know, in the now, what I ask people to do is make sure that they're really, really clear on the revenue and some key financial statistics inside their business for the next 90 days at a minimum, really for the balance of the year. Then make a determination of how you've been impacted by COVID-19. What is the impact currently? How do you foresee and forecast the impact for the remainder of the year? Take an objective approach to that, not an emotional approach. So really slow down and kind of break down month by month. Take a look at how many employees you have, what investments you've made, what research you've done to survive and maintain payroll. I just want to pause here for everyone watching and say, as business owners, we have an obligation to understand all of the government packages that are out there, because they're there for us to be able to have business continuity, and be able to pay our employees and ensure that they can move forward as well. So really important that you guys have done that research. I think the main one that applies to lots and lots of people is the Paycheck Protection Plan, which lots of information has been coming out today, and application appears to be ready for tomorrow. Essentially, it's businesses under 500, and there's all sorts of opportunity in there that I'm not going to take the time to go through today, but I will encourage you look deeply into the Paycheck Protection Plan. The majority of businesses will qualify. It is 8 weeks of forgivable pay, and there's lots of other components in there, rent and different things that you can do, mortgage, that make a real difference on your P&L as you forecast out the year. So the other things you should be doing now is getting really clear about what you're going to accomplish with this gift of time. What are the things that you're going to do? Because that's really, really important. And ultimately, how much time are you committed to working in and on your business? So if your in is turned way down, you have this massive opportunity to repurpose that time with on. I just like to clarify to everybody, we're not on vacation. So it's not like we should look back upon our day and say, oh, well, I worked for 2 hours. That was the best I could do. There's lots of opportunity to focus on different things at this time period. So then in 90 days, you're going to be able to look back and say, what revenue will I have generated? How did I survive COVID-19? How many employees did I help survive? These are objectives that you should have. Investments in people, investments in the market. How many of them are there, and how are they doing? How did your business and life improve with the gift of time? Have really good, clear goals on how your business and life is going to improve with this gift of time, and how many parts of your life and business are operating more efficiently. And ultimately, you can want to look back and say, okay, over this 30 or 45-day period, God, I spent 200 hours working on my business, and I accomplished more than I could ever imagine. This would have taken me 5 years if I never received this gift of time. And now that we're about to do business again, I think I can really explode some things. So really important to reflect on this and apply your own thoughts to what this means to you. But your mindset and where we're at right now, that's what's going to determine where you are in 90 days. So I just like to share this slide called Point of Power. It's one of the things that I speak to very, very often. So obviously the point is here in the middle. And there's two places people can be at this point. Place one is below the point, as we call it. And when you're below the point, we say you're in bed. That's the acronym here. And below the point is really someone who is just placing blame, excuses, living in denial. This situation is prime for people to get below the point. And even me talking about this, I have caught myself falling below the point because we're all human. What's important is knowing when you are below the point and helping yourself remove yourself from that place. Because there's all sorts of things we can do right now. But what's really, really important is that we stay positive and optimistic and focus on what we can control. So those folks that are in bed look like this guy, right? Just miserable. We all know these people, always giving reasons for why they can't do something. When I'm engaging with my clients, really pushing them in this moment to be focused on the things they can accomplish. And when I start to hear them give reasons why this won't work and that won't work, I just start pushing. You're below the point. You got to try different things. We're living in a new world. We're not a victim of COVID-19. We're going to turn it into an opportunity, right? And so behind my desk are two oars that are always there. So anybody that does business with me, because this is how I work with my clients, they're always looking at these oars behind my desk. And oars stand for ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And with these oars, you start to get results. You become right? This lady here who is the victor. So we all are in a place where we need to pivot and we need to make significant changes in our business to make things happen. So this is where you take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for your business to get results. So one of the things that I would say is an above the point mentality at this point is the saying that I've been going with, which sounds like this. If you can't do business today, get really, really busy building a network of people that you can do business with tomorrow, right? And that counts towards working on your business. And it's really important that you pay close attention to where you are each and every day. If you wake up below the point, figure out quickly how you're going to become an individual who gets above the point and starts to get things done. So we like to teach that there's 5 keys to business success. 1 is leverage, 2 is people, 3 is systems, 4 is technology, and 5, sales and marketing, right? So focused on sales and marketing today, but these are critical components that you should be focused on in your business. So if you're like, hey, what am I going to work on in my business for the next 30 to 45 days? Pick one of these 5. Today, we're going to talk about sales and marketing and a specific process that we follow to keep people focused on it. And as we go through the next couple of weeks, each week I'm going to come through and take the opportunity to discuss different sections of the 5 keys to business and make sure that as we go through this time period, we've got lots of stuff to work on together. So I believe there is a clear formula for life success. I'm a simple guy and I like to focus on simple things. And so my formula here that Action Coach stands by and believes in is be times do equals have. And what this formula means is get really clear on what you want to have, right? So I typically talk about this in the 10 and 20 year arena. In the moment, I'll just talk about it in the 90-day arena because we're all just living in this different world. So 90 days from now, where do you want to be? What % of your business did you want to have retained? What % of your employees do you want to have retained? If you're in a business that's surging because of this, what are the things that you want to make sure happen as you go through this time period? But get really clear here on what you want to have, and then figure out what you need to do to have it, right? So this is the process. Okay, so these are the things that I need to do to be able to have that, all right? And those first 2 parts, if you can take the time, are pretty easy if you've decided to take the time to apply to it. What's most difficult is then being the person you need to be each and every day to have that stuff. That's what people struggle with, right? I need to go from being unstructured to structured. I need to speak to people in a different way. I need to put myself out there in different forums and try different things that scare the heck out of me. And I need to be that person. And people typically fall down in the B category. So I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of things that you should take away from today. Some people, when they first look at this formula, go, I'm going to roll my eyes at that one. I will tell you, it's simple intentionally, and it actually works if you take it out the time, take the time to kind of write out your own formula here. So who do you need to be? What do you need to do that will equal what you want to have? So spend some time figuring that out would be my encouragement. So let's get into today's content, sales and marketing. Some people think of it as an expense, right? But here at Action Coach A&B Performance Group, we think of sales and marketing as an investment. Even now, I'm still marketing, I'm still investing, and I am focused more than ever on being able to be in front of people, because this time is a great time to be able to be out there talking to individuals. So I'm not saying that you triple or quadruple your sales and marketing investment in this moment. But one thing I have worked with clients on is don't turn it off. Be really focused on the right marketing and make sure that you're doing test and measure. Make sure that you're test and measuring everything. So the obvious is for every dollar out, more dollars should come in. We work with clients and tell them on average, you should be looking for a 5 to 10 time return on your marketing dollars. If you're not getting that return back, we need to reassess, and we do that through our test and measure. So test and measure things, right? Put a marketing campaign out, have to understand the results that come back. So too often we'll meet with people and say, okay, so tell me the marketing things you did in the last 3 months. They give me the list of things that they've done in the last 3 months. And I say, cool, how did those work? And I get answers like, pretty good, or I'm not really sure, or it didn't work. And then you ask for data and specific information on it. And most people don't have it, which is why they think marketing is an expense. So if you test and measure your marketing and really pay close attention to what you're spending your dollars on and if it's getting a return, you'll know what to do and what not to do. And so I encourage you to really think about that as you move forward. There's 2 sides to marketing. The first one being acquisition cost, right? How much does it cost to quote unquote buy a customer? So simply stated, if you've invested $300 in advertising and got 10 clients from it, you paid $30, and inside your business, it costs you $30 to buy a customer, right? What we need to understand when I ask that question is, how do you get there, right? What are the things that work inside your business to buy a customer? And once you have that measurement, it makes sense of the acquisition cost. Excuse me. I typically do these events at a venue. I'll do some webinar, but the majority of them are at a live venue, live restaurant, nice restaurant, typically Ruth's Chris, Capitol Grill, those types of locations. The reason I do them at that venue is because these events are marketing for me, right? I market my services and the things that we do for business. And when I do those events at a restaurant like that, on average, 2.5 people, 2.5 businesses sign up to do business with us. And so I get more than a 10-time return on that dinner with the new clients that choose to do business with us. So it's a tested, measured acquisition, and I know what it costs to buy a customer when I use that marketing arm. And that's what I'm talking about when I say you have to understand what the acquisition cost is. The second part of marketing is really looking into lifetime value. So if you got a customer who spends $550 a year for 6 years, right? That's a $3,300 customer to you. What are the things that you want to do to market towards that customer? How do you get that particular customer who you already own? So it's cheaper to market to them than anyone else. What are your specific strategies towards your current client base to get them to grow? Because if you grow 550, to 600, you have a very, very extensive leverage game here. Because if you can do that with each client, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of growth in that specific arena. So these are the things that we like to hone in on when we look at marketing. And at Action Coach AMB Performance Group, the thing that we focus on when we start with a client is, are you or are you not a good fit? So at some point towards the end of our webinar today, we'll make an offer to the group and say, okay, here are the services that we offer. And we offer a 90-minute diagnostic that's complimentary to the folks that are here, that are part of this call or that watch the replay after the call. And what we want to do in that time period is determine whether we believe your business meets our guarantee. Because the best part about working with Action Coach AMB Performance Group is we will guarantee our results. So inside 12 months, we will find a 3-time return in your investment in coaching, or we'll coach you for free until we do, and we have no interest in coaching anybody for free. And I'll still say that during the COVID-19 time period, because it's a long year. So we do sometimes meet people who we can't take their business to that next level, and we will have to say to them, we don't see that fit. But I would say 80% of the time when we meet with a client, we see the fit, and we look forward to moving forward with them with our guarantee that we will get them results if they are open-minded, willing to hustle, and in most cases, willing to hire. And the 5 ways is one of the main components we're able to use to be able to give that guarantee. So that's what I want to take you through now. So this is kind of our math equation for business. So everybody knows a basic P&L, and everybody knows, right, that there's 3 things people often talk about: customers, revenue, and profit. This is when I speak to business owners, I say, okay, if I work with you, can get me more customers. Well, I can't specifically get you more customers, but we can focus on some things to do that. Can you get me more revenue? Can you get me more profit? And what I like to say is, this is a perfect opening for the conversation around 5 ways. And the 5 things that we focus on are number of leads, right? Because you can control that. You can control what you're doing to get leads. Your conversion rate, which ultimately then equals the number of customers you have. Then we hone in with strategies on number of transactions, your average sale, which now gives you your revenue. Customers times number of transactions times average sale gives us revenue. And then we will dig in on profit margins and ultimately land with your profit. So the 5 ways are the things that you see here on the screen in color. And the results of the 5 ways work are the things you see here in red. So highlighted yellow, 5 ways, red, the results of it. Now I'm going to take you through a couple of examples so we can create a math equation. So if we put in numbers, and let's say, by the way, this, whatever number you put in here, the equation works. You can make the assumption that this number of leads and these numbers are for a year, depending on the size of your business, or they could be for a month. Really doesn't matter. The idea is you want to understand the equation. So if we make the assumption that we're starting with a business that has 2,000 leads and operates with a conversion rate of 25%, that gives us 500 customers, right? So 2,000 times 25% gives us 500 customers. We then look at number of transactions, and we look at average sale. So now we've got 500 customers that do 2 transactions with us a year. So that's what number of transactions is. Number of transactions you do with a client within a year. And an average sale of $400. This gives us a $400,000 revenue business. 500 times 2 times 400, $400,000 revenue business. We have a 25% profit margin, and all sorts of things that lead towards this, but right here we're just looking at pure profit margin, and that lands us at $100,000 in profit for our business. So again, now kind of a breakdown of the 5 ways with actual numbers. Now, what we'll do with you as a coach, as coaches with the business owners, is say, so what if we applied 3 to 5 strategies to each of the 5-way categories? So if you're really not doing much to generate leads, right, and we help you create a referral program, we help you define and determine a good couple of marketing strategies, teach you how to network more effectively, all sorts of things, right, that can work inside the lead category, but hold you accountable to doing those things with absolute consistency, right? We now then come to a place where we say, well, what if we were able to do that, those types of things with each of the 5-way categories? Could we get a 10% increase in each of the 5-way categories? And what would be the result of that? And honestly, this is where things get easy and interesting. So a 10% increase in leads gives you now 2,200 leads, right? So 2,000 times 1.1, 2,200 leads. A 10% increase in conversion now moves you to a 27.5% conversion. It's not plus 10%. You don't go from 25 to 35. We're saying your lead conversion gets better, 25 by 10%. So you move from 25 to 27.5. So 10% increase in both of these categories, which now gives you 605 new customers, which, by the way, is greater than a 10% increase because we're using leverage here. We're focusing on particular categories, specific categories, and the key categories, customers, revenue, and profits, get leveraged because of it. So a focus here and a focus here of 10% growth gives us 605 customers. We then come into number of transactions, 10% growth here, 10% growth in average sale. So for most of us, when we do average sale, unless you're regulated inside your industry, we just say, when's the last time you raised your price? Most people look at us and go, well, I haven't, and I can't because it's very competitive, and blah, 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 blah. And then we start to do a little bit of a breakdown, and we figure out specific places inside their business where they would be able to do a price increase. And the price increase alone has such unbelievable leverage that always gets us even more than a 10% increase. But we left this today here at a 10% increase. So now we've got 605 customers, 2.2 transactions at an average sale of $440. And your new revenue is $585,640. And this is one of those places where you go, huh? How did that happen? And again, it's the same story, 10% leverage each time as we carry our way through the 5 ways, which is why these are the 5 things we focus on that help get specific growth. So now you're taking a $585,000 profit and you are putting a 27.5% profit margin on it because we honed in on profit margin. And you've now taken your business from 100,000 to 161,000 in profit off of just a 10% increase in each one of these categories. So this is one of those moments where you go, yeah, but those are just numbers on a screen. And I would say the same thing if I hadn't seen it work inside businesses. And this, by the way, is why I say we can guarantee results for clients. Because if you're committed to work your 5 ways, and if you're committed to consistently doing the things for these 5 strategies, and by the way, we've got hundreds of strategies in total to implement for these categories. We don't have the magic wand that says it's going to be this exact one that works, which is why we test and measure. But we will tell you over the course of a year, you'll figure out your formula and you'll be able to make some progress here within that result. So now take it and say, okay, by the way, the 46% increase in revenue, 61% increase in your profit. Those are numbers I would sign up for right now. So let's look at it this way and say, well, what about a 25% increase? So here it goes again, right? If you can get 25% increase in each one of these categories, and in the interest of time, I'll let you look through this on your own, right, as you see it, and you can pause the screen or whatever you want to do later when you get the replay. But the idea here is a 25% increase carried across all 5-way categories leads you to a $985,000 business and a $307,000 profit from 100,000. So when you go back and you look at the testimonial from Cobblestone, you will see that's one of the gentlemen who really applied a 5-way strategies to their business. And there's many more examples than that, and got significant results like this, just because not a lot of that stuff was happening inside the business at that time. So this really, really works, but we're in a different time. So I thought, I've never done this before, but I thought, okay, some people could be closed for up to 90 days. So I think that we need to work the 5 ways up against a current strategy. So most of the time when I'm doing these presentations, my idea is to demonstrate to business owners how a focus on each of these categories could grow your specific 5-way. But the reality is some people may not be able to grow their number of leads this year. So I decided to try and do the calculation and see what would happen if we just made the blanket statement that 25% of our leads were going to decrease inside this year because of our close rate. So we're going to start off with less leads. So now we've gone from 2,000 leads, right? And we went down to 1,500. So just as a reminder, 2,000 leads with all these numbers gives us 100,000 in profit. So now we're taking 500 less leads, but we can still control the other 4 categories. That's the thing that I want everybody to be focused on. We absolutely can still control the other 4 categories. So if we control conversion rate, 27.5, and all these we put at a 10% increase, by the way, same deal. So 1,500 at a 27.5 conversion rate, we now have less customers. So we did business with less customers this year, 500 customers versus 413. But we're going to do more transactions with the customers we have because we're going to apply strategies. We're still going to be able to get that average sale up by 10%. So just that alone, improving conversion rate, improving number of transactions, improving average sale, gets us almost flat to last year, right? Just here in this equation. And then if we went back and said, we're going to get a 15% improvement in profit margins, we're going to go dig into expenses, we're going to take advantage of all the government programs, make sure that we use that Paycheck Protection Program for any business under 500 people, which is going to put a lot of dollars into your payroll that you wouldn't have had before. You do all that and you get a 15, just a 15, not a 25, a 15% improvement in profit margins. You end up with $115,000 in profit right here. So this is the most important page you're going to see in a really long time, because I hope that it creates optimism for those of you that are watching this live and thinking about it afterwards, because this is real. So when I said in the beginning, we have to look at this as a gift of time and be really, really focused on how we use this time to make our business operate more efficiently. One of the places you can do that is by building out strategies with your 5 ways. And as a coach, I'm very interested in helping as many businesses as I possibly can figure this piece out, because this is real and this can happen. And as far as I'm concerned, this is how I am looking at 2020. So is this really possible to do in my business during this time period? So I say yes, if you start thinking like an entrepreneur. So you're going to have to pivot and do different things. I've never done as many webinars and live broadcasts as I have in the last 2 weeks. And I had to pivot like that because I was an in-person, meet people in place type of leader. That's the way I wanted to run our business, more of that. But I had to pivot. So here we are, trying different things, and we're going to continue to do that. You got to hustle. This is not a time to be sitting back. So we are working more now than we have all year, and we worked pretty darn hard prior to this. But really focused on pivoting the business and trying different things to make sure that we're, 1, here for business owners and can help them get through this time period. But also 2, not being completely altruistic, still able to focus on our own growth plans and building the business and the brand that we want to have. So you got to adapt the way you do things now. But if you keep doing things the way you've always done, you're going to get the same thing, and your prediction is going to be right. Your fear, which is false expectations appearing real, that's the acronym for fear. Your fear is going to come true. If you are sitting back with your head in the sand, not implementing things, not taking a leap and saying, you know what, I am going to get some help, or you know what, I'm going to go this on my own, but I'm really going to be focused on the things that I learned today. Yeah, it's going to be a tough year. So the opportunity is here for you to really, really deliver, but you got to focus on what you can control. There's my little Bart Simpson thing over there. And that's what we're here to get you to think about. So how'd you feel if 2020 was a year where you beat last year's business, right? Where you still were able to do more business this year than you did last year? Because the equation I just showed you demonstrated that it actually is possible, but it's going to take a lot of hustle, a lot of learning, and a lot of results from each and every one of you. So we're going to get close to me talking just a bit about our programs. But there's a really good quote from Jim Rohn. Never wish your life were easier. Wish that you were better work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This is a moment where you've got to be so unbelievably mentally strong to navigate and power through this time period. But those that do, I'm telling you, are going to get shot out of a cannon on the tail end of this. So if you use this time the way we are using this time, the way you should be using this time to hone and refine and make specific intentional changes to your business and try new things and test new things and stay connected with your customers, this can be something that ends up being an advantage for you and your business. So my commitment and who we are looking for, again, people who are open-minded, people who are willing to hustle, people who are willing to hire. And the offer that we put out there is we will do a complimentary and completely confidential 90-minute assessment of your business. We'll do it on Zoom, this Zoom platform here. We ask you to only do 2 things to prepare for that. 1, there'll be a background questionnaire that you have to fill out that you send our way. It takes about 20-25 minutes to fill out. Ask lots of questions about the business. You get as much of it filled out as you possibly can. Part of the questionnaire is to determine where you and your business are. And the second is, when we are on that call, we want to make sure you've done all your homework and you're really clear about whether you think coaching is a right fit for you, and you'll come into that Zoom call prepared to make a decision about whether coaching is a good fit for you. And if you're willing to do those 2 things, then we're going to be willing to have some further conversations with you and help you determine whether coaching is a good fit for you. Worst case scenario, because there's no commitment after you do that 90-minute assessment. The only commitment are the 2 things I just said. Complete the assessment and come prepared to make a decision. But if you're able to do those 2 things, the worst thing that happens at the end of the session is you leave with some more specific things that you can do for your business. So we've got some time slots up here. You'll be able to get to see the replay as well, but if you're on live right now, you'll be able to see the slots here that we've put out, that we blocked out for people. You can pick one of these, and if you're interested in grabbing one of these time slots, you can just shoot us a chat. One of the team members is in the on the call, and we'll pull you can send a chat privately, by the way. They'll pull your time. We have your email once you give us your full name, and we'll be able to reach out with you and schedule all the things that we need for you to get that business assessment scheduled. And now let me just take you through a little bit about what our programs are. So first off, we have what we call one-to-one coaching. This is where we work specifically with you as the business owner with the intent of creating clear, specific goals. We work that be, do, have equation with you right away. Get clear on what you want to have, when you want to sell your business, if you want to sell it, when you want it to be creating passive income, when you want to retire. And then we build out a specific coaching plan that is right for you and your business. And that is what one-to-one coaching is. We have group coaching. So group coaching is up to 4 people on a call, weekly Zoom calls like this, where we work still specifically with you and the others on your business goals. Group coaching calls are awesome, just for whatever it's worth, because not only are you learning when we're coaching you specifically on your business, but you're also learning about other things that other business owners are talking about, and that's pretty cool. So if you get into the group coaching program, 1, you start to build a little bit of a network, but 2, you learn things you didn't even know you wanted to learn because somebody else starts talking about it. So group coaching, good stuff. We have something called Action Club, which we're going to be starting our next one up on 5/1. And this is really a 4-month curriculum every other week. We do education. This is not coaching, so this is not a guaranteed result program. But it is business education focused on a specific curriculum that I'll take you through in a moment. And then lastly, right now we're helping people just do 90-day plans. So if you're interested in just kind of engaging in a 90-day plan, we're helping folks do that as well. And 90-day planning is part of what we do with our clients. I typically don't offer it as a separate package, but it is something that we're putting out there now for business owners just because of the current time period. So because I told you you have to come prepared for making a decision, I want to make sure I take you through the investment of coaching. So first off, on one-to-one coaching, this is video or face-to-face. 99% of my business was done video before COVID. Now 100%, obviously. Occasionally, we meet people when we need to, when we feel like it'll make an impact. We'll do that. And as the world lightens up, we'll do that again. But obviously, as we get started, it'll all be Zoom right now. Focused on established businesses. You got to be willing to commit to spend a couple of hours a week working on your business. But I already told you earlier on in the call, if you're working a 50-hour work week, 10 of those hours should be spent on the business already. So the idea is really just to start repurposing your time and making sure that you're working on some forward strategies to keep the business moving forward, because that's what a good president and CEO does. The investment in one-to-one coaching starts at $14.95 a month. It does come with our 17-week guarantee and our 3-time return on investment commitment. What that 17-week guarantee means is within 17 weeks, we look to find our fee. If we've come up with that agreement and agree on working on financial things in the beginning, and the 3-time return is something we spoke about as well. What I'm doing right now that I've literally never done before, because I don't believe in discounting, but we want to be out there helping and connecting with as many people as possible, and also obviously trying to build and grow our business as well. We're doing the first month for free. And I'm being very genuine when I say I've never done that before. I never plan on doing it again. I guess unless we are hit with another global pandemic that totally came out of the blue. But it's here, and that is something that is an offer that is out there for folks. This includes membership in the Profit Club. And then we also have a kickoff alignment consultation. This is a multiple-hour meeting where we get you and sometimes your team members aligned on goals, so you can be focused on building your business going forward. So we're willing to prorate the alignment over the course of a year as well. Also something that we've never done before and don't really intend on doing again, but trying to make things easier for business owners that are out there right now dealing with this current situation. Next up is group coaching. So group coaching we spoke about. This is for some of the smaller businesses committed to spending a couple hours working on their business a week, same deal. Group coaching is offered at $5.95 a month and is inclusive of our 17-week guarantee. And we're doing the same thing. So first month free for group coaching right now. Obviously, you have to make a commitment to engage in coaching. With coaching, just as a clarity point, we have our guarantee. We also have a 30-day out. So we don't want anybody to feel locked in. We really want to make sure that individuals are there. But the idea here is that coaching is a long game, but we put the out there just to make sure that people are comfortable. Group coaching has a mini alignment consultation, so it's just a bit smaller, not as detailed. We don't go through as many things. We don't engage with a team, things like that. And this we have also do is sort of an optional, and we've decided we would prorate that for the year as well. So we're trying to make things as easy as possible for people to get help and do as much as we can to keep businesses moving forward. Action Club, as I said, 4 month, every other week, 7 2.5-hour sessions. I'll show you the curriculum in a moment. We are doing the 90-day plan, actually now at $295. I guess the computer just decided that. And the entire workshop we're offering right now for $19.95. That's starting on 5/1. So this again, when you come to the next page, is a curriculum type program. So we'll go through different things. The only thing with Action Club that really is one of the main different points is it's not coaching. So we're going to educate you on these specific things, and then you go off and execute them. You'll come back in 2 weeks and move on into the other topics, and these are the things that we follow. Number 7 is finalizing a 12-month business plan. I'm not quite sure why that's not on here, but that is what number 7 is. So I like to show this video at the end so people kind of get a feel. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and come back on and reshare with my sound on. So bear with me here for a minute. And just have a listen to this gentleman, because I think it's a very interesting view on coaching.
How do professionals get better at what they do? How do they get great? And there are two views about this. One is the traditional view. That is that you go to school, you study, you practice, you learn, you graduate. And then you go out into the world and you make your way on your own. That's how doctors learn. That's how lawyers do, scientists. Now the contrasting view comes out of sports. And they say, you are never done. Everybody needs a coach. The greatest in the world needs a coach. So I tried to think about this as a surgeon. Pay someone to come into my operating room, observe me, and critique me. It seems absurd. Expertise means not needing to be coached. So then which view is right? Turns out there are numerous problems in making it on your own. You don't recognize the issues that are standing in your way, or if you do, you don't necessarily know how to fix them. And the result is that somewhere along the way, you stop improving. And I thought about that, and I realized that was exactly what had happened to me as a surgeon. So I asked a former professor of mine who had retired, his name is Bob Osteen, and he agreed to come to my operating room and observe me. The case, I remember that first case, it went beautifully. I didn't think there would be anything much he'd have to say when we were done. Instead, he had a whole page of dense with notes. Just small things, he said. Did you notice that the light had swung out of the wound during the case? Another thing I noticed, he said, your elbow goes up in the air every once in a while. That means you're not in full control. It was a whole nother level of awareness. He was describing what great coaches do. And what they do is they are your external eyes and ears, providing a more accurate picture of your reality. They're recognizing the fundamentals. They're breaking your actions down and then helping you build them back up again. After 2 months of coaching, I felt myself getting better again. And after a year, I saw my complications drop down even further. It was painful. I didn't like being observed. And at times I didn't want to have to work on things. I also felt there were periods where I would get worse before I got better. But it made me realize that the coaches were onto something profoundly important. I think it's not just how good you are now, I think it's how good you're gonna be that really matters.
So the idea here, right, is when you listen to his speaking, it's really an interesting approach on ultimately the value of having someone else look in and see things that you maybe can't see on your own. And that's the beauty of coaching. And the difference of what we like to offer is one clear point. We guarantee that as you go through a coaching experience with us, on the tail end, you're going to get that return on your investment. So there's a couple different ways for you to engage with us after today's webinar. Obviously, I do have my phone number, the business phone number down here. That goes to the main line. My email, the website. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook. Also encourage everybody to just jump onto the chat and inside the chat, just send a note and our team can grab it and get your call scheduled with us. And other than that, I want to thank everybody for being here with us today. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of your businesses not only survive this time period, but thrive. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and I wish you much success during this time period.
Thank you.
Thank you.